Well, hello. Welcome to Mind Masters Business Wisdom. And today we're talking with one of the Mind Master licensed facilitators, Erin Samaniego with the Lady Boss Lab. And she is here with us all the way from Ventura County in California. So good morning.
Good morning, Barbara. Great to be with you this morning.
Oh, well, we see each other a lot on
Yes, we
Zoom,
do.
hardly
Yes,
ever in
we do.
person anymore, but it's good to have you.
Yeah.
Just to kind of start out, I kind of like people to understand how you made that decision to come to me about Mind Masters.
Yeah, well, I want everybody to know first that I was a client of Barbara's like 22 years ago. I was a wee baby business lady boss. And yeah, I found such comfort and focus and structure in the Mind Masters program in my business at that time. And so then, years went by and I got married and had kids. And all the while, I had been involved in coaching and training and development on the side as sort of a hobby. And so, anyways, I had gotten in direct sales for a number of years. I was actually laid off from my corporate job. And so I pulled out that direct sales business as sort of like my plan B. And I ran with it and I accomplished quite a bit. But I remember being in Mexico at this trip that I'd earned for my husband and I, thinking I can't do this again. Like I was missing something in selling the products that we were selling. And so I think it was this epiphany that I wanted to make a difference for business owners in all different industries. And I'd had that business background and I had that coaching background that, Mind Masters just seemed to be a very obvious, simple, and effective tool that I wanted to bring to where I was living now in Ventura. So that's when I called you when we got back, and the
Here
rest
we
is
are.
history.
And
Yep.
here we are. Well,
Yep.
it's we've both experienced those weekly groups, and we had to go from personal to the Zoom. But what is it that you enjoy about leading the groups each week?
I love the community, the refuge that people come to every week. We go out into our week and life happens and things go our way and sometimes they don't. And so having a place to come every week with people who really you can talk to um, freely, where they're going to support you, accept you, encourage you, um, is so rejuvenating and motivating. And it has some accountability to it, right? Because every week we come back ready to report what happened and whether we fulfilled on our commitments for the week. And I just love the win that is every week. Even when things aren't quite going their way, there's still a sense of winning and accomplishing that, we get to celebrate every single week.
That accountability just really helps with the focus. I mean, we're
Huge.
so, as small business owners, it's so easy to be so distracted. I
Absolutely.
hear you. So why don't you share a success or two of some of your people? I mean, besides your own success, because you've done very well with it, and you've kept an excitement behind it, and that's
Yeah.
how the Lady Boss Lab label came out of it, because you've
Yeah.
focused just on women at this point. But
Mhm.
share some of those successes.
Yeah, well, there are two that stand out for me. One, I was working with a friend who was a very successful corporate professional who, ended up moving into motherhood and starting up a quilting business. And when she came into Mind Masters, she was doing things in her business that she didn't love, but she was doing them because they were always being asked of her. And so when she was in our program, she started to kind of give herself permission to focus on the things she loved and stop doing the things she didn't like. And in that year, she doubled her income by doing less. And it was like, how did that happen? But it was really amazing. By just focusing on the things she loved and doing more of them, she financially she was thriving. And then another client of mine, she also was in the corporate world, in the tech industry, and she was a struggling coach and working with organizations and teams. And she had actually worked with another coach while in the Mind Master program, or now the Lady Boss Lab. And the coach said, you have to call 60 people a day to get these high-end clients. And she was suffering. And so finally I said to her, why just stop doing that? She wasn't doing it anyways. So why you just stop? And so she gave herself that permission to not get caught up in that rat race of the numbers game. And what ended up happening is she started attracting these really fabulous clients, and she exceeded her annual goal by May this year compared to last year. And she said, this was so great. She said, I would have quit my business by now if it hadn't been for this program. And I mean, that's just like, that's gold.
That's the best end result you can find, and
Absolutely.
that's what makes it exciting, because not that you personally has impacted that person, but the fact that they were willing to be there and be committed, but they had the support to do it. That's excellent.
Yeah.
What about, I know you track people differently now that we're doing everything on Zoom. So share a little bit about that.
Well, I had have been working with an online app, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll say, first of all, I think it's so important that we are tracking our metrics, because as business owners, we can think we're doing really well, and when we look at the numbers, it could tell us a different story, or vice versa. So we really put our necks out there and say, look, we want to make sure this is effective and actually producing a result. So we will help you track your gross revenues and your net profits and any other metrics that help indicate the health or lack thereof in your business. And so, yeah. And someone said to me a long time ago, what was it that they said? Something about the tracking. The truth is in the tracking. Right. And so, yeah, we track, and that and it takes the emotion away. So it's just the fact, and it gives them some power, even when something isn't what they expected, to actually make a decision that based in the numbers and based in the facts, that just gives them way more power, and then they can actually make an impact in moving those numbers.
Excellent. So, working with the kind of people that we work with, the smaller business owner, what do you think I don't want to say typical, but what are the types of challenges that come up in the groups on a weekly basis?
I think the biggest ones are the lack of clarity and focus with what people say they want. So the goals tend to be kind of vague. We have a brainstorming session during each meeting, and we ask people, okay, what's the most important action that you're going to commit to taking this week? And sometimes those come out very gray. And so we'll help them really fine tune what is the action. If I'm going to see you take it, what's the action? So that then once you take it, you can say, yes, I did it, or no, I didn't. And I think that's it gets hard for people. It gets muddled, and then maybe it's like a self-sabotage. So they can't really, be held accountable for doing it or not doing it. So they leave it a little more gray. But we really kind of box people in a little bit in a loving way, just to help them really, like, what's the action? And then, okay, that's your assignment. Take that one action. So having the focus and follow through it is a challenge
with the follow-up phone call weekly.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why we do that too. So they have the benefit of having the group meeting every week, and then just a really quick check-in call to make sure, hey, are you on track? How's it going? Because sometimes they'll be like, oh my gosh, what was my committed action? I don't remember. And I mean, how great is it that we get to provide that structure? Because without it, they leave the meeting and like the phone starts ringing and the email stops popping and all those distractions come flooding in, but it's 90% of those things are not going to have an impact in the business. It's that committed action, that one thing. And so that's what we help them focus on and follow through with.
So many times as I make my calls on Wednesday, somebody says, "Oh my gosh, it's Wednesday already."
I
So,
know.
it just kind of comes down to that. Well,
Yeah.
let's just kind of wrap this up and just give us something that you think people could walk away with in terms of, why they would want to support a small business owner, and your reflection on that.
I mean, I think it seems like our society is really starting to become more geared towards the entrepreneur. The entrepreneurial spirit. People want what they're doing to have meaning, and people should be able to succeed when they're offering something that helps, that solves a problem. And so I think we can really help boost our community by, you know, supporting entrepreneurs, not only in buying their products and services, but really helping them develop their businesses and helping those businesses grow. So it's not rocket science, but it's hard, you know?
Right.
And so I don't know, part of me feels like the future belongs to the entrepreneur. And even just that entrepreneurial mindset in a job, I think that's just more of how we're evolving as human beings.
I think we don't realize what people do bring to the table, irrespective of whether they were in one of those jobs, because
Yeah.
the experience is huge. So
Yeah.
it's being with a group of people that can add that to the forward movement of their business. So Erin, I appreciate you. I always challenge you to keep focused and move on, and we'll look forward to it the next time.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thanks,
being
Barbara. You've been such a support for me in being able to bring Mind Masters and help me combine it with my own ambitions and goals as a woman wanting to empower other women. And I just so appreciate you. You have built such a legacy for business owners, and we're just so grateful for you for having done that.
I can only be grateful for the people that are willing to support the concept. So thank you.
Yep.
Have a
Yeah,
good
you're
one.
welcome. You too.
Take care.